Over 15 pianos in 5 different categories. Understanding Kawai's product layout of upright pianos can be difficult. Today we're going to tackle some of the differences and look at all 5 different product categories.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in beautiful downtown San Antonio, Texas.
And I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. We really love to interact with you guys and we really appreciate the support. Well, Ted, today we're tackling a lot of data, I feel like.
Right.
And we're looking at our notes, we're like, okay, there's all these different ways to go, and we know it's confusing for consumers, people looking for information.
Hey, it's confusing for me. I work here, I walk out there, and they all kind of look alike. I mean, they're all upright pianos, so it's like, I know they're different, and I open them up and see what model it is.
Yeah.
So it kind of tells me, well, it's different than the other one.
Yeah, and so it can be confusing to see all these different models, and then if you navigate to Kawai's webpage or to a manufacturer's webpage, you see all these different, there's this series, there's this series. How do you know where to click? And how do you know where to even start doing your research?
Some of the differences are real subtle, so you don't even know what it is that you're, why is this one, what the dads always say, they all look the same to me.
Exactly. So we're going to try to tackle that, especially here with Kawai today. And this is a series that I think we're going to do on some other manufacturers, because it can be confusing to navigate. And sometimes on the used market, you'll find a model that's discontinued, and you'll be like, well, what does that compare against the new stuff? And it can just be confusing. So right out of the gate, we'll start with the K series, one of our favorites. The K series is what Kawai calls their professional series, but I think it encompasses a little bit more than that. It's for beginner all the way up to advanced.
It really is. It's a great piano. Like if you have little ones in the house, it's going to be the one piano that you're going to need, unless you have someone that just takes off. It's a super player.
And so that K series kind of encompasses a whole bunch of stuff, and you can actually make the case that you could buy 3 K series in the lifetime of a student, and each one of them would be different enough to keep them continuing and playing and having a more advanced instrument every time. And so it starts at the K200 level, which is an amazing instrument, but it's their smallest. It's about 45 inches. They add more as you go along through the line, but the K200 is going to be obviously the most affordable. Going to be manufactured at their Indonesian factory, Kawai's Indonesian factory, where they also make their entry line Baby Grand. And so just the K200 is a great instrument. It comes in a whole bunch of different finishes. It comes in the polished ebony, the polished mahogany, the satin ebony, and just they used to make it in a polished white. And sometimes people ask for that, but I don't. In the United States, at least, that finish is not available on the K200. It goes all the way up to the K800, which is behind us, which we are doing a video on if it hasn't come out already. Make sure to check that out. This is the best of the best when it comes to Kawai upright pianos. So this is where I think you use that word professional and really kind of target a professional at.
Well, it's the top of the line of the professional upright pianos.
Mm-hmm. And so what's interesting is what ties all these together, the K200 all the way up to the K800, is that Millennium 3 action. That's the consistent all the way through. And it's that carbon ABS action that people love. It's in their grand pianos. It's in their upright series. But this is what continues from the K200 all the way up to the K800. And you're an excellent player.
There's a similarity in all of them and how they play. And granted, as you go up in models, you get longer, heavier keys and different kind of felts and bigger soundboards and longer strings.
More back posts.
And more back posts. And all that just adds to the, to the roundness and the maturity of the tone. I mean, it just brings out a better tone, timbre, and then you can control it through this action.
Yeah, and you're gaining space as you move up to, so it moves up from the 45 inches at the K200. The K300 goes up to 48 inches. And so 3 inches, how big of a difference can it make? But when you think of the multiplier effect, you're gaining a much bigger surface area on your soundboard. You're also gaining, with the K200, the K300 leap, it's a big price leap, but what you're gaining is it's made in Japan.
Right.
It's obviously the bigger size. You get more back posts. You get just a little bit more features put into it where you're getting a bigger, louder, more sustaining sound from it. This is kind of the bread and butter of the line. The K300, very, very popular. Comes in the most finishes that they have to offer. And so you can get satin mahogany, which I think is only available on the K300. You can get polished mahogany, polished ebony, satin ebony, and then you can also get it in the white finish, which is really, really a beautiful instrument. But that's the K300, very, very nice piano. The K400 is going to be the same exact size, just different design specs. And so it kind of has, very similar to the K800 behind it, so it has like a grand piano music rest.
Right.
And it's got that dual hinged fall board.
Oh, flips open.
So kind of just more traditional looking. Still going to come in polished ebony. And I think that might be the only finish available on the K400. The K500 takes another leap up. You're moving up to 51 inches. So again, multiplier effect. You get a lot bigger kind of sustain area. Right. You also get the Neotex key tops, which is their upgraded key tops. Whereas on everything before that, you're getting acrylic and phenol.
Right. Not as nice and not as
and it's incredible feeling. But the Neotex is that material they spent, probably millions of dollars trying to invent and get the moisture to absorb off your fingertips and really just have a more ivory feel to it. So the Neotex, you also start getting duplex scaling on the upper end. So just, they're adding these
features, and they make a difference when you go down the line. I mean,
you need to figure out where your stopping point is as far as, budget, but also like what features are really important to you. And I would say from the K200, K300, and K500 for us are our best sellers in uprights. And for different reasons and different, it's definitely designed for different players. But that's the biggest bulk of the upright. So the K Series is the biggest, it encompasses the most, and it's called the Professional Series, but if you are a beginner or intermediate, I wouldn't not look at the K100 series because it is designed for a lot of different players. Which brings us to the Anytime, which is the second selection if you're on Kawai's website. So they have the K Series and they have Anytime pianos. And Anytime pianos, in the image, it looks almost the same, and it can be confusing, but what's the marketing behind the Anytime?
Is that you can play the piano anytime you want, 3:30 in the morning.
And so we've done technology videos before, and I really think this feature is one of the coolest of modern day acoustics.
Especially if there's a real dedicated practicing young musician or a serious player in the house.
And so there's two series in the Anytime piano, and it's actually not different uprights. It's the same uprights we just talked about. But it's technology that's added
to it.
And so there's the Aura system, which we've done a video on. That's going to be available in the K300 and the K500, which is kind of a mixture between a silent system and transacoustic technology. So they are using transducers on their soundboard. They have a technology drive that basically you can play organ, you can turn the volume down, you can play pianos, you can record, you can use it as a MIDI instrument. And then there's the ATX system, which is a little bit more stripped down and more just the silent feature. And that's going to be available on K200s. Very popular for us, that Anytime ATX. So you're looking at a K200 ATX3 now. And just a very cool instrument, and the controls are right there on the left cheek block, which is very, very smooth looking. And so just, adds a whole nother level of features.
Well, it almost doubles the product line just by putting that one feature in there. And based on the usage, if it's a student or a crowded house of people living in there, that's a feature that you have to show almost every customer that comes in.
And so just to talk about it a little bit more, it's a feature that you can make an acoustic instrument like this. And the benefit of having an acoustic instrument is that action, getting it to feel like a real piano. But you can basically remove it from hitting the strings. So the action's still going, but you have headphones on and you're playing with the headphones, and you're not bothering in the house, and no one's bothering you while you're practicing.
You're really focused. It's a great way to take down piano literature and memorize stuff and get your muscle memory intact. It's a great private way of really taking in a lot of material and practicing.
And then it can span from that all the way to a church or recital hall. That needs to be plugged in and amplify the sound, so you can run an auxiliary out, an audio out, just directly from there, and have it playing not only for the player right there, but they can be playing it. So just really cool. We've done videos on both the Aura system and the ATX, so check those out for sure. So we've talked about the K series, the Anytime series. Now we're going to talk about the Designer series from Kawai. And so this is one that we'll just quickly talk about, but this style of piano
it's still, there's still a market
There
need.
is.
There really is. People come in, I have an old furniture piano and I want another one.
Mm-hmm. But it's happening less and less every year.
It is. It's the design of having a piano to be decorative, so it's like Queen Anne and it matches my dining room and my living room. Those kind of days of piano manufacturing are kind of slowly slipping away.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of pianos, and we get them in here that they were Queen Anne, or they're Italian oak, or they call them these French provincials. They have all these different kind of leg styles and bench styles and carvings, and a lot of that is pretty much gone away because people now, I mean, for the last 25 years, it's been the polished ebony look or the polished white, and so it's good that they still make those because we do have a lot of requests for those, and people say, I want a traditional piano. Yeah. And that's what they mean when they say.
And so you have the 507 in this line, and you also have the 608. I think the main difference between those two models is going to be how the fall board actually works. So on one of them, you're pulling out the fall board, but yeah, these are definitely going to be more decorative, and it's just. If you're looking for that replacement of an old furniture style instrument, this would be the model you'd be interested in. It's very similar to this next category. I think they use the same interior as a 506N, which brings us to institutional pianos, right. Which there's two offerings here. It's the ST1, which is, if you looked at the used market, if you looked at Kawai's, you've probably seen UST. And this is the continuation of that story. It's the ST1. So they got all the way to the UST9, and then they discontinued the UST series, and now they have the ST1. So it kind of it's a rebirth of that series, which was in many institutions and many colleges. We bring them in sometimes from old schools, and they're like, oh, we have 10 practice rooms. Half of them are Baldwin, half of them are USTs, right. Kawai's. And so this is kind of the continuation of that. Really a durable piano. Not only does it move around pretty easily with those caster wheels, it has that amazing music rest. Right. So Satin Finish, this comes in a lot of different finishes actually too. So I feel like this has taken the place of what furniture style was. So we put them in a lot of music studios, a lot of universities, colleges, high schools. It's very similar to that. In my life, it was the cafeteria piano. Oh. That one that's there for the choir teacher when they do on the stage right there. But it locks it closes up, it locks. It's very durable, can take dents, chips, and really kind of just needs a tuning to stay. All the maintenance required is tunings. So the ST1 is really the bread and butter of that line, but they also have a more affordable option at the 506N, which also has that nice long music rest. But it has basically the pull out.
Pull out. It's like a drawer.
Mm-hmm. And so just a couple of design features on that one to save some cost and to lower the price on that. So that's the institutional pianos, which is it's nice.
They're nice. They're nice pianos.
So K series, again, I would say that's the highlight of upright pianos from Kawai. The K series has the most offer. Then you move again to the Anytime pianos. We move on from Anytime to the Designer series. Then we have the institutional ones we just talked about. And the last series often gets miscategorized as a K series because of the name. But the K15 is the only option in that Continental line that they have to offer. And those are usually
called, the Continental style is like some places call it a Euro style. Mm-hmm. And this is an upright piano with no front legs, and it rests on its back post. It's got the legs kind of like underneath. There's no forward part of it. Yeah. And the idea behind it is that it was a piano that would look mod and modern, and they were very popular in Europe because they didn't stick out real far, and they didn't have that leg that sometimes people would trip over in those decorative pianos, because the piano would be made and the legs sometimes would go out. Especially in the American ones, if they would put furniture style, they would make the legs go out. This had no legs, and it looked great in a small apartment or a small condominium. It looked great in a bar or cafe style, and there were a lot of them that were used in small restaurants and cafes and even music venues. And what's nice about them is that there's not a whole lot of flash to it. It's just a piano. It's the action and the strings and the soundboard, and they're really super nice. And we get them in here, even the older ones, the older style ones that they're built off of. And a lot of them, you know, regardless of the manufacturer, they look alike. But that's the styling that some people look like. Sometimes called Euro style or Continental.
And I think the highlight of the Continental style for me, and one of the reasons it's very popular, is compared to the competition, you're getting a solid soundboard, a solid spruce soundboard. And so that's stamped right on the back of there. They're really proud of that. It's stamped on the back of this K800 here.
It's the other thing I didn't mention is a lot of those Continental Euro style pianos have those laminated soundboards. And they were originally designed almost with the same concept of what the spinet pianos were in this country, which is let's reduce the cost and get a piano as affordable as we can into, you know, the small family or into the small business. And that's where the Euro Continental style came from.
And it's a great little instrument. Affordable, like you said, it comes in at an affordable price, which is nice. And it's also kind of a modern look. So like if people are looking for that small footprint of an acoustic instrument, I think a lot of times they'll go that direction.
And you've seen some of the ones we've had come in. Sometimes we get them in ivory or white, and people have decorated them. They have stickers on them, and it's not like it's an overly expensive piano that if you put it into a public and space, it'd be nice to decorate it or put. And sometimes we see them painted different. They get different purples and blues or designs.
Yeah, it's very kind of like that modern look.
Well, some places turn them into what I call Picasso pianos.
Yeah.
You know, where they put like weird colors and figures on them. So, and because there's no legs or anything, it does make for it's a box. It invites that kind of decoration.
Yeah. Well, those are the series from Kawai, the upright series. Hopefully that helps you navigate. I would say if you are a first-time looker and want to take that dive into getting an acoustic instrument, I would probably recommend looking through the K series first, looking at the K200, the K300. That's a really great place to start, as well as the ST1. The ST1 is very popular with music teachers, with universities, like I said. And the 506 is a great affordable option that also kind of fits that design difference. So if you're like, I don't like the black shiny piano, I want something more wood finished, I think the ST1 and the 506 might be the best option for you. If you don't want the curvy legs and all that, then you might want to start looking at the designer series. So hopefully that helps you see the overview of what Kawai is trying to do with their 5 different categories of uprights. If you've played any, if you own one, if you know anyone who's owned one and you've played on them, please let us know what you guys think, because I think they're amazing instruments. They all have an incredible value proposition.
And we have breakout videos on a lot of these.
Yeah.
Almost every model we talked about, there's a separate dedicated video.
Yeah, so if you want any more information, please don't hesitate to reach out. We have someone on our website pretty much all the time to take your chats available and kind of answer any questions that you might have. This is Ted Barstool. I'm Patrick Marr. We're with Alamo Music Center. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, as we really appreciate all the support you guys give us. Thanks.